Danielle Brame is a writer, actor and dramaturg working and teaching on the Central Coast. I sat down with her to chat all things Flatpack, her equal parts gut-wrenching and hilarious one-woman play as she prepares to take it on a regional tour this April. I suppose to start, would you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Flatpack and about the world of Debbie Foster?
So I am Danielle Brame. I'm an independent artist based here on the Central Coast, Dark and Young Land. And Flatpack is the story of 49-year-old Debbie Foster. She has put Dad into a nursing home about 9 years previous because of dementia. And now she's finally got around to packing up his garage, or the shed, as she likes to call it. And in trying to pack up the shed, she has to unpack a lot of boxes and uncovers a lot of memories along the way and has to sort of work through all of her memories with her dad.
Speaking of those memories, I wanted to ask, you said that it's not autobiographical, the play, but it does draw on your experiences and your memories and identity as the daughter of a Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
How did you find balancing that sort of personal with the performance? Did you find it helpful to have a reality to ground in, or was it challenging at all?
I did. I was lucky enough in the first stage of development to be working with Vanessa Bates as a dramaturg, and she was very giving with a lot of advice on how to create separation, because if anything at first I was putting too much of myself into Debbie and into the story.
Yeah.
And so she was teaching me a bit more about how we can utilise elements of the truth and our experiences to create that fictional narrative. I feel like I've got a really good balance. The funniest thing is that my father came and saw this when it premiered in 2024.
Wow.
I wouldn't let him come and see anything before then. I waited until the premiere. He came and saw it and he loved it, which was great. But then he says to me, I don't remember that happening. Like there's a scene where 8-year-old Debbie gets left behind at the Anzac Day March. And he says, I don't remember leaving you at the Anzac Day March. And I said, Dad, that never happened.
You didn't.
You didn't. You've never done that. And I thought he would have known that purely by the fact that in the play, Debbie and her dad walk from their home to the Anzac Day March, and we've never lived close to where the Anzac Day March was. So, yeah, it was obviously effective enough that Dad mistook some of it for real. So did my sister. She was helping me rehearse. Wow. And she said, when did that happen? How old were we? And again, I went, nope. That bit's made up. Never happened.
There you go.
So, yeah, I feel like I have got a good balance. There's a couple of sections in the play that do make me a bit emotional because they're a lot closer to home. As like a short piece that I do talking about the Welcome Home March in 1987. That's very, very much based on real. And so I will always get a bit emotional, but the advice given to me there was just own that because it's part of what helps the audience connect with those very real emotions. So, yeah, it's a balancing act.
Yeah, sort of using it but not being restrained by it or taking care of yourself through that process, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So enough fiction that I'm not traumatising myself over and over again.
That's probably the best, probably for the best.
That's it.
And I suppose it would also help that you do get to be quite dynamic in the performance in that it's through Debbie's memories, but you're not just playing Debbie. You play a whole myriad of characters.
I do.
What's that like?
I love that.
Yeah.
That's fun for me. And from the beginning, I knew I wanted to try and play. So one of the things I wanted to achieve going into developing this play was developing my skills as a physical performer. So I knew sort of the writing side I was relatively well developed on that side of things. But, yeah, being able to do a lot more showing on stage and playing a lot more different characters. So that was an aim of mine and I've had so much fun with it, especially like, changing my accent a little bit, just playing with just slightly changing your physicality to suddenly create these other characters. Every time I turn into mum, when my sister was watching it, she would just laugh because I wasn't actually trying to replicate our mother, but somehow I feel like I got her essence in there. Yeah. Especially when she's telling off the father.
I bet.
Yeah, no, it's fun. So it's great because it challenges you as a performer and you have to do it, well, in this play, really, really quickly. So I have to jump from one to the other very, very quickly.
I suppose it'd make you really pay attention to who a character is, because if you are playing like one consistent character through a show, I feel like you bring so much of yourself to it. Especially with things like accent and physicality. Sometimes you can, or at least I can, rely on what I've already got going on in my own life. Yeah. So then when you have to break that up or contrast it, you become really, really aware of the choices that you're making.
Absolutely. And it's I only ever choose 2 or 3 things to create that character, again, because I am jumping so quickly between some of them. But 2 or 3 key things that will help me fall into that character really quickly, but also make it very clear to the audience. So like the priest in the play, he, that's an accent. And we had, my grandparents had a parish priest all through the years of me growing up he was just the sweetest man. He wasn't Irish, but his surname was Father Healy. So I was like, I'm going to call this priest Father Healy after him. But, hey, here's my chance to do an Irish accent.
Yep. Why not?
Yeah. So, just choosing 2 or 3 things to make it really clear that this is the character I'm being now. Yeah. And, so far it's gone down well.
Yeah, makes it fun. Yeah. Fun for the audience, fun for you.
Definitely fun for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that physicality something that you worked on with Angie Diaz when you were developing it through the art house? Because she's a quite acclaimed dancer.
Yes, she is fantastic and pulls no punches, like tells it how it is, which is great. I always appreciate people like that.
Absolutely.
But not just this amazing dancer, she's an amazing actor. So Angie came in my first stage of development. We spent a week together. I think it was 3 days, just her and I, working on different things to do with physicality and playing. So I brought some boxes in because I knew I needed packing boxes for this play. And we just played a lot with that and, sort of ran me through a bunch of different physical exercises. And then we brought Vanessa back in for the last few days to show her what we'd done and then combine it with some more ideas that she had based on all the writing that I'd done. Because I would turn up after every session with Vanessa with like almost a novel of scenes going, here's some stuff I wrote based on what we did last time. And she'd be like, wow, that's a lot.
At least they're working. The exercises are working.
Yeah, they said you're very giving. You're very giving with your words. I was like, oh, that's a really nice way of putting it. So Angie, in the first stages of development, was just working with me on pushing myself physically and learning a bit more about, what my boundaries are in my physicality and how I can use it, all that kind of stuff. And then when it came to the second stage of development, which ended in the premiere at the Art House, her title there was Movement Director. So Vanessa stepped into a position of director and Angie was my movement director. And, it was great because they would help just tweak the decisions I was making. But Angie, I would work with her again any day of the week. She is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I can imagine it'd be helpful to have a couple more hands on deck too.
Yeah.
Especially considering it's a one-woman play. How much of the production is just you? Like in terms of costume and set and obviously the performance, but and lighting and then having to do your own marketing and stuff. How's wearing all those hats as an experience?
It's a very challenging experience for a perimenopausal brain, I will say that. So nowadays it's all me.
Right.
In those early days, I was lucky enough to get a grant from the art house, which was how I was able to get Vanessa and Angie to come in and work with me, and Craig Barry, who works at the art house, and he was basically working as the producer for the premiere. They've been amazing. I'll call them mentors. So I've learned a lot. The other staff at the art house are just as giving as well. So Chris, who does the marketing there, any questions I've had, she's happy to answer. So as much as I can say it's me doing it all, I have some really brilliant, talented people around me that I'm able to call on. The upcoming tour is through a small grant from Arts on Tour, and they're amazing as well. So they're like, any questions you have, just call us up. And they do. I either email or I'll call through, and they'll either be able to help me straight away, or they'll go, look, we know some people, let us talk to some people. And
Yeah, bit of a network.
Yeah, so, and that's kind of what it's about. You know, most independent artists, we're working tirelessly by ourselves behind the scenes, wearing like 50 different hats. But because so many of us do that, it means that quite a large proportion of the professional industry are happy to help, are happy to go, okay, let me tell you about my experience, and this is what I learnt to do, and most importantly, what not to do.
Yes. Avoid my mistakes.
Yeah, so it's important in this kind of role not to just hide in your own little corner thinking you have to do it all yourself.
Excellent. That's really lovely. To have that sort of community and network, I think that's really nice.
Yeah, and it can take time to build, but it's worth it.
Yeah. I want to ask about both grants. So obviously, yes, in 2023 you got the Art House Wyong grant, which allowed you to develop it initially, and now with the New South Wales Government Arts on Tour Backroads grant. How much has changed, do you think, in the actual play or in how you approach it? Has it stayed the same over that time? Or
So no, I did have to tweak it for the tour.
Yeah.
Because, sorry, I'm laughing because I'm remembering. When it premiered at the Art House, my beautiful team that were behind me got very, very excited about dressing the set, for example.
Right.
And every day I'd turn up to rehearsal and someone would be turning up with a box of new things to put on the set. And it was growing bigger and bigger. And so you saw the original production and there was a ginormous industrial shelving unit that sat at the back of the stage. And that came out of Craig Barry's workshop back at his property. He's like, oh, we've got this spare shelf. And it was ginormous and made me look tiny, which was the point. But obviously you can't tour.
No, not quite practical.
That.
Yeah.
So part of what I've been doing since getting the Backroads grant is figuring out, okay, how do I recreate the set so it still has what it needs, but I can travel with it. And I mean pivoting in the last month because there's now the extra challenge of diesel running out in many country places, which the point of the Backroads grant is to go back roads.
Yes.
Part of my pivot is instead of hiring the van I originally had planned on hiring, I have bought a kind of cargo thing that will sit on top of my little Kia.
Okay.
to house so that I can fit everything in. I'd like to say I can fit everything in already, except it takes up the passenger seat.
Right.
And I need that for my stage manager.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's not truly a one-woman production.
Not truly. I've got Luke.
Right.
He'll be running, sound and things like that for me. But, I have had to smallen, reduce the amount of things and become, I guess, a little more frugal.
Yeah.
Going, well, what has to travel with me? Because I think in the first one I got very excited and there was a box Dad's fishing box was one of the boxes in the thing, and I actually had a fishing net and sinkers and fishing line and all this kind of stuff in the box. Whereas now I'm looking at it going, I don't. The audience never sees that.
Yeah.
I do not need that.
They can suspend their disbelief.
Yeah. So it was more about, okay, so we've got all these, sheets and towels and things like that to weigh down the boxes. And the only things that are actually in the boxes beyond that are the props I do need to pull out that the audience does need to see.
Yeah.
So it hasn't changed excessively. Probably where it's really changed is from the initial concept.
Right, okay.
When I went to initially pitch an idea to the art house, it was really skeletal at best, which was not the way I normally liked to work. Normally, I liked to have a draft of something.
Imagine that.
This time, though, I've walked in going, well, I don't know, I've got this idea that, life's a bit like a flat pack without instructions, and I want to kind of explore that. So that's how it started. And it was through the dramaturgical process that suddenly all these stories about Dad and I started to emerge.
So it started like a flat pack with no instructions.
Literally.
The play itself. Layers
upon layers.
Wow.
So that's, I think that's where the biggest change and shift happened, was through the first development. But since the premiere, it's just tweaks more than anything to make it easy to travel with, but still tell a story. One of the things I love about this particular play and doing this play is I know that it works without lights. So I've had to perform it without lights before, and it worked just as well, which makes it easier to tour.
Yeah.
So I have been working this year on putting a bit of a static lighting state together that will travel with me, which is very different from how it premiered at the art house. But it means that I can go into, for example, on the tour I'm going to the Mary War School of Arts, which is a hall. And so there's no, rigging for theatre lighting or anything like that. So that static lighting state is it. But if for any reason we got there and we weren't able to darken the hall in any way, and therefore the lights made no impact whatsoever, that's fine. I know I can still do the play without lights. However, if we go into a theatre and, yes, my SM Luke has access to the lights, he's going to play with them.
Of course.
He's going to figure out how he can use them. It is wonderfully flexible like that. But these are all these little things you have to think about is, it's going to cost us to get all our stuff from A to B. What's the most cost-effective way to do that? So what do I really need?
Yes. What am I actually using? Yeah, it sounds like a challenge in adaptability and flexibility. Yeah, the Backroads grant in particular is quite important and compelling, I think, in that, we're on the Central Coast, not quite like a rural regional area, but we're not the city. And even here, access to theatre, we have a great little ecosystem of arts on the coast here. But it is still quite hard sometimes to get access to quality professional theatre.
Yeah.
And so we understand that, but going into places like Scone and Dungog and Merriwa, I think it's really cool that these places are getting access to stories that they otherwise might not have had.
Yeah, and basically that's what Arts on Tour is trying to do. They're trying to find opportunities to get good quality work out to the regional areas, because the more these kind of stories go out there, the more opportunity artists from out that way will sort of have to connect with other artists, that where a collaboration may come out of it, or it can just trigger ideas for them of, this thing that I wanted to work on, that's how I could get it done. So it is about taking stories out to the audiences in the regions, but it's also about creating opportunities and ideas for the artists that live out there. The Arts Upper Hunter, who I've been working closely with, because obviously that's where I'm taking the shows first, they've been amazingly supportive because they want a lot more theatre to come out to their region, but also they want to create opportunities for their own local artists. And I think that's how we do it. So with the Central Coast, we are lucky. We're not that far from Sydney. I think the hardest thing about the Central Coast is we're very spread out.
Yeah.
So it makes it hard to have little hubs. It takes a bit longer to get everywhere. So I'm excited to go out into communities that are much closer together and not so spread out like we are here on the coast, and hear their stories as well. So part of the Backroads grant is you must, as part of your pitch, talk about how you're going to connect with local community. Not just on a monetary level.
Yeah.
You know, how do I make money out of them? No. But genuine connections that somehow help them interact with art beyond just watching a show. So for me, because my background is also teaching,
Of course.
my pitch included running workshops. So that's the Dungog Show and the Merry War Show are actually daytime shows, targeting more the retired population for those ones, but they're followed by a workshop on offer for anyone that's seen the show to learn more about how we craft stories for the stage. Because, our older population have amazing stories that we need to hear, but maybe don't necessarily know how to take the steps to make it performative, for example. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's brilliant. You know, you can only be what you see available.
Yeah.
And I think even just as representation, it's very inspiring to see theatre and see, I could do that. You know, I could get into that for established artists, but also for people that might be interested but don't think it's maybe a realistic pursuit for them to be able to have access to a show like that. And then through experience and experiential learning like a workshop, that makes quite a difference. What would those workshops involve? Like, what would they look like? Still figuring it out?
My problem is I've got 10 million ideas, and at the moment I'm trying to figure out which of the 10 million I actually want to use. But part of it is, a large part of it is dramaturgical.
Yeah.
So I'll put on the hat of the dramaturg and just take them through a series of thoughts where they can start talking about their own ideas. So that's one of the things I'm asking workshop participants to bring an idea they have that they think might be cool on stage. Yeah. The product of those workshops will be a simple, short monologue. Hopefully. My hope is that they'll all come out with something tangible that they can then build on as they go. But depends on the number of participants as well as to what I'll use in the workshop. But doing little story building activities with them to show them how easy it can be. So, there's one activity that I do with an object and just showing how you can suddenly, within 5 minutes, build a scene and a story surrounding this object. So getting them up. So they won't just be sitting and me talking and that kind, but getting them up and actually getting them to experience story, which is really important.
Absolutely.
If you're going to do theatre.
Yeah.
So getting
Can't be the
across
audience
simple
all the time.
things and getting them to really think and ask those dramaturgical questions. So it's not me telling them what to do, but me just helping them uncover what they can do with their own stories. So one of the biggest things that's in like feedback with Flat Pack that I've had is from people in my own generation about the lack of stories from our generation that are out there. So Generation X is called the invisible generation. And then if you look at women in this age group, we're also put under that umbrella of the invisible woman syndrome. So, but Generation X people aren't actually quiet people. We like to talk. We like to share our stories. It's that thing of giving people that kind of can get told by society a bit that it's time to shush and let the young people do their thing, giving them sort of this permission to go, no, we really need to hear your stories as well. Like yesterday I had a young person who has seen the play say to me, this is great, I feel like we need more of this, because this person works in theatre, and they said to me, I just feel like at the moment the industry is flooded with young people's stories and I really want to hear more from your generation. I was like, that's so nice, thank you.
Yeah, 100%. And when you're the person that's, taking charge of that and leading that force and inspiring other people to do it, and that's how you build that sort of...
Well, a community.
Yeah.
We can start
exactly.
to build a bit of a community because each other's stories, I think, will resonate.
Absolutely.
And I've had a kid as young as, I think he was 7, come and see Flatpack, and afterwards come up to me and go, oh, I love that, and I loved how you did that. And there were all these things about the story that resonated with this 7-year-old, and he is not my target audience. But that was quite uplifting to go, it's good to know there's enough in this story to engage lots of different age groups.
Absolutely. Yeah, having seen the play, it feels, of course, very personal, but also really, really universal in its ideas and its handling of things like memory and grief and all the nostalgia in it. It feels very... like quintessentially Australian in a way, but not cheap. It just, I think it makes sense that it would resonate with pretty much anyone. Maybe you don't know someone who was in Vietnam, or maybe you don't, you're not in Gen X or whatever, but it's very powerful. And I think regional, like these audiences in particular, would connect with it.
Yeah. And I mean, look, I did have someone come up to me after seeing the premiere who mentioned that her and her husband came to see it, and she said, it did resonate with my husband. His father's a Vietnam veteran. And I said, okay. And she said, but he just thought, you could have included something about sons and their Vietnam veteran fathers. And I just simply and politely as I could replied, it's not my responsibility to tell the story of sons and their Vietnam veteran fathers, because I'm a daughter.
Yeah.
That one's not my responsibility. And to be honest, there are a lot of movies and things out there. There's really not a lot. Kate Mulvaney did a brilliant play. Her father's a Vietnam veteran. But beyond that, I don't know a lot. Pink.
Yeah.
Her father's a Vietnam veteran, so I've, heard her music. But the American experience is very different than the Australian experience. Very, very different. Their soldiers were treated differently. What their soldiers went through was different from what our soldiers copped. So, you can't really compare the American experience. But Kate Mulvaney's done one. I don't really know. I'm sure there's something else out there. I just don't.
But clearly
know
not
of it.
Reaching enough of a sort of breadth.
And it's just not. I've had family members that came and saw it. There were things I talked about in the play that I've never discussed with extended family.
Wow.
So it kind of opened up doors with some of them to ask questions and to kind of, I guess, try and better understand what it's like growing up with a veteran father. Yeah. It's a different upbringing.
Yeah, and that's like the power of art and theatre, I think, is so often it is a process and a mode of inquiry into who you are, into the people that that you're surrounded by and that make up your experience. Telling a story as a way to understand your own story, I feel like is quite powerful. And even for audiences that, don't resonate, that's why we see shows. That's why we step into theatre, to take us out of our own experience sometimes and challenge us and make us see things from a different point of view.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was definitely very cathartic for me.
I bet. I bet. So, going on this tour, being a part of this grant, what does that sort of support, financial government support, mean for you as an independent creative and artist trying to juggle
it's invaluable. It's invaluable. I'm lucky enough that I'm married to a wonderful human who supports what I do. because it doesn't always bring a lot of money into the household. I'm not always contributing on an even level. So I am lucky there. But without these grants, like I literally wouldn't be able to do it. I just, it might take me, 3-4 years to save up the money and set it aside, because you can't take from your family's household income. Well, I can't justify that. So I do some work as a casual teacher as well. So that kind of money can go into the household, and it then allows me to just focus the grant money on what I'm doing. You do with these grants, you do need to put some of your own money into it, but the main things, the things that can cost the most, that's what the grant covers. Yeah. And that, for me, I think I would have had to spend about 4 years saving.
Wow.
So I could do this. And in doing this with the grant, I'm learning things as well about, once the grant's finished, how I can actually move forward and how I can do this and it won't break the bank. So for me, that will look a lot more like going to one place on a weekend once a month. That would be something that I could figure out how to pay for myself. Yeah. But going away for a full week to a region and doing multiple venues, that needed the grant money.
Yeah.
So it's invaluable. Yeah, I get asked that question a lot too, especially if it's a council thing, because you often have people from other parts of the council who don't have a background in arts and they don't really understand it, but they like to. Will often say, oh, what difference has this made? And my answer always begins with the word, it's invaluable, because being given space, so the art house has been amazing with some in-kind support, that I was able to put that in my grant application as well. So some mentoring from Craig Barry at the art house, and they've also given me space to rehearse, because my lounge room's not big enough.
Not with all those boxes.
Not with all those
Not
boxes.
with the shelf.
I can rehearse my lines, but once you introduce the set, the art house has given me a lot of time to go into their studio there and rehearse, and that's just as important as the grant money.
Absolutely.
Having space, that's where artists can be supported a lot more, even more than money, is being given space to go and do their work and develop their work, and not worry about how they're going to pay for the hire of that space.
Yeah, I suppose the peace of mind as well in knowing that, there are people here that believe in my vision. This show is definitely getting put on. I am going to make it to the end of this. I have a timeline to work with. That's got to reduce some of the mental load, I would imagine, as well.
Yeah, it does. It does. Because, as artists, we can doubt ourselves a lot and devalue ourselves, whether intentionally or unintentionally. And so with the Backroads grant, I was so excited when I found out I got that, and I felt really blessed. And then again, Craig at the art house said to me, do you understand that they only gave 3 of these out, and of the 3, I was the only independent artist. The other 2 were companies.
Wow.
And I had no idea, because I didn't go and look at the others. I was too excited just celebrating that I got a grant. Woo! Yes, and he said to me, that's a really big deal.
It's huge, yeah.
And we had an artist night last week or the week before, and he sort of announced it to everyone. Oh, Danielle's here. She's going on tour soon, da-da-da. And that was one of his things. He said, she was the only independent artist to get the grant. And I'm sitting there going, oh, it must be a big deal.
Yeah. Must be something to be proud of.
So it is. It's really validating for you as an artist, but also special that other people want to see your story. So basically the feedback when I was told I got the grant was that, because obviously I sent them a link to be able to watch the show, and and they were like, we absolutely love this play, we love your story. So that's people I don't know. They don't have to say nice things.
Yeah.
And it's just really I don't know, I feel blessed.
Well, you should be very proud. It's quite an achievement, and I'm sure they are going to love it, everyone that's about to see it. Flat pack aside, this year you've already done the Lake Macquarie One Act Play Festival.
Oh, yes.
And now I see you've got something in the works called Get in My Box, a perimenopausal rebirth story.
Yeah.
Is there any teasers about this coming up? Anything you can spill?
This one is being developed through a pen residency with Central Coast Council at the Peninsula Theatre. So a couple of years ago, I received a pen residency and I ran workshops, 5 workshops with women from Generation X, plus 2 outliers. There was a what do they call them? Zennials. So a woman in that age range where they're kind of, kind of millennial, kind of Gen X. And there was one baby boomer that snuck in. That I don't know how that one happened. That was just me not paying attention to a birth date, I guess. So I ran those workshops and they were a lot of fun, and lots of discussions happened about a lot of different things that women have to deal with. So one example would be women's health. And I obviously did research leading up to the workshops and was getting slightly disturbed the more research I did on women's health and the state of it. And, it's not great. Anyway, ideas came out of that, which I've then been developing a little bit since the last residency. And what came out of it was this idea of get in your box. So something that women in my generation, it came out in every workshop. You know, we're always been told to get back in our box. And I was like, okay, so what if we took ownership of this box?
Reclaim it a bit.
Yeah. So that's my idea. It's going to be definitely a comedy. It's definitely going to be a lot of fun. Just sort of navigating this woman who has decided to redecorate her box, to renovate her box. She's thinking she might even put some wheels on her box.
Sure.
And take her box, on a journey to different places. And, so she's just inviting people along to take part in the renovation of her box.
There you go.
Yeah. And celebrate it.
Awesome. That sounds great. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, should be fun.
Yeah.
But that's all I got at the moment because it's still a very big work in process. Yeah, work in progress.
Excellent. Well, we'll keep posted. Anything else you'd like to say that we haven't covered? Anything you want to plug?
No, I don't have anything else to plug at the moment. No, just flat pack. Just people looking out for flat pack because I do intend on bringing it to a lot more venues.
Absolutely. Now that you can too, because you've learned how to downsize it. And
that's it. And I have a lot of the stuff that I need now. So I've been building that for 7 months, slowly building all my collateral and what have you.
Yes.
But no, I'm focusing. I'm focusing. I'm not overcommitting myself.
Excellent. There you go. Heard it here first. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. To grab tickets to Flatpack or to keep up with Dan's work, visit danbramewhiting.wixsite.com or her social media at Pedestrian Ingredients. Thank you for supporting theatre and thank you for listening.